Welcome again, and thank you for joining me. This is Pastor Peter Christian Hessing, and I hope and pray that you are having a God blessed day. And God and Jesus, Jehovah Yahweh, Allah is blessing you and your family and your loved ones, and everything is going okay with you. I know there are a lot of people out there who are having tough times. I have had a lot of tough times also. As I like to say, we're not all millionaires and billionaires. There are people out there who can't find a job. People around the world, billions who can't find food to eat, nothing to drink. Billions facing hunger and starvation. We have people facing, a drought. People facing war. We have millions of refugees fleeing out of Syria and Iraq and other countries there around the world. People fleeing because of war and terrorism and so forth. And all of us face health problems. They all face sicknesses, whether it's the flu or the cold or headaches. Some people have to go into the hospitals. I've had some friends having heart problems and heart operations, people in intensive care, some people fighting cancer, their heart disease, some people trying to overcome HIV and AIDS and Ebola. I know we have Zika virus now that they're trying to find a cure for. So we really have to pray to God, Jehovah Yahweh Allah, ask Him to solve these problems and also to help us overcome and prevent nuclear war and global warming and earthquakes and fires and floods and so forth. There. I'm going to do for you one of my favorite and popular songs, President of reggae, rap, hip hop, country, gospel, country piece. And this song and this CD has 11 of my original songs. And Billboard magazine liked it so much that they called me up. I was in California, and of course Billboard there were in New York, and they called me up and said, Peter Hessing, you have to put these two CDs in Billboard magazine. There's another CD which is also very popular that I have, Miss America Hearts, that has 14 of my original songs. And we're going to be mass producing those and trying to make sure that everybody gets one. And I want you to look for them. I'm going to be telling you when we have them in the stores and how you can get them. Of course, you can always get me on Facebook or Twitter, or send me an email at peterhessing@outlook.com. There. And now we have the presidential election coming up here in America, where we Americans have to choose a president, a new president. And we have Hillary Clinton on the Democratic side, and we have Bernie Sanders also on the Democratic side, and we have Donald Trump on the Republican side, who seems to be getting the Republican nomination. And we have to choose. I, as a pastor, as I said, and as a Christian, that we have to pray to God that we can choose the right president, because we are at a very crucial and critical time where we have to do away with nuclear weapons. As you see what's happening, the Russians are actually threatened to use nuclear weapons in the Ukraine, and there's no near confrontation between America and Russia in Syria. North Korea is trying to produce a nuclear intercontinental missile that can probably reach us here in America. And of course, there has been a lot of conflict in the South China Seas, where China is expanding and trying to acquire these islands, and there's a lot of clashes between China, Japan, Vietnam, the Philippines there. So we are on the verge of, some people might say, another world war or possibly a nuclear war. So we're really at a very critical time. But the next president that we have to have a 24/7 system and treaty that can protect us from nuclear war, but also reduce nuclear weapons there. There. So it's a very critical time that we have to choose a new president. And I have tried to be impartial. I've tried not to get involved in this type of presidential, I would say, presidential conflict. But it comes down to a time now where every American has to sit down and make an honest evaluation of the candidates, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, and then we have to go to the polls and cast our vote. Okay, I'm going to talk more about this. I'm going to do for you one of my songs here, President of Reggae, Rap, Hip Hop, Pop, Country, Gospel Piece, a very long time. Yeah, we did it that because we tried to put on this CD all kinds of different music, gospel, reggae, a little pop, a little rock, a little country there. So I'm going to do for you this song, President, for my president of reggae, rap, hip hop, pop, gospel, country, peace. And I hope you will enjoy it. Okay. You live on the block, you sing the reggae and rap. Be the president of the American nation, president of the United Nations, president for peace negotiation, save lives in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, country, gospel, and the Christian gospel peace. Be the president of your education, president of your graduation, president of certification. Save lives in the world. Be the president of congressional legislation, president of congressional deliberation. Be the president of human rights, president of equal rights. Be the president of the economy, the president to create jobs, to end poverty. Be the president of transportation, president of aviation, president of space exploration. Feed the people in the world. Be the president of food production. Be the president of Farmers Association. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, country and the Christian pop and gospel piece. Be the president of a business corporation. Be the president for job creation. Be the president of all the governments. President for nuclear disarmament. Be the president to stop terrorism. President to prevent racism. Be the president to save the environment. Be the president to negotiate. Nuclear disarmament. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel piece. Be the president to save lives in the nation. President of the African American population. President of the Jamaican nation. Make peace in the world. Be the president of the election. The president voter registration. Be the president of inauguration. The president of the revolution. Be the president of a demonstration. Make peace in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel piece. Sell all the music in the back. All the CDs on the rack. All the records in the stack. All the videos in the back. Become a college dog. Save lives in the world. Make peace in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel country piece. Be the president of a charitable organization. President of a church foundation. Be the president of an evangelical association. Praise God in the world. Praise Jesus in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the country gospel piece. Be the president of a business corporation, president of a church organization, president of a charitable organization. House the homeless in the world. Be the president of the American nation, president of the United Nations, president of the Jamaican nation, president of the West Indian Foundation. Be the president of the African American population. Save lives in the world. Feed the children in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel rock and pop. President of Jesus Association, president of the church organization, president in God's creation. President of salvation, President of Jesus and God liberation. Make peace in the world. Preach the gospel in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian country, gospel, peace. The president of peace negotiation, president of nuclear disarmament, president of all the governments, president of a clean environment. Save the environment, save the people in the world. The president for equality, the president to end poverty. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel country peace. The president on the radio, president on the video, president on the stereo, president on the CD, president on the DVD. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel peace. President of a radio station, president of a television corporation. Make jobs in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, country, and the gospel peace. Be the president of peace negotiation. President of job creation. President of a human rights organization. President of a civil rights association. President of Jesus salvation. President God liberation. Save lives in the world. President of a heart foundation. President of the doctors association. President of the nurses foundation. President of the student association. President of your education. President for your graduation. President of certification. President of love relation. President of the family situation. The president of the engagement. President of the wedding arrangement. President of a children association. President peace negotiation. President of the block association. Save lives in the world. Be the president of reggae rap, hip hop, pop, and the Christian gospel peace. President of God Association, President Jesus Salvation. We have a church foundation, a business corporation. President of peace negotiation. Thank you, and that's one of my sample songs, President of Reggae Rap Hip Hop. It's on my President of Reggae Rap Hip Hop, country pop, gospel, peace. It was very popular CD with mass producing thousands and probably millions of them, and we hope to give some of that money to charity. I'm setting up my own charitable foundation, the Peter Christian Hessing Charitable Foundation. I really want to do a lot to see if we can end poverty in America and the world, create jobs. I really want to see if we could create a business, an online business for 6 billion people in the world, and we can end poverty. I think that's what we really need to do. That will double our GNP here in America. We created 40 million businesses for 40 million poor people in America online, and created a network where they could sell a product or make a product, we would end poverty in America, have jobs, that's 40 million jobs or 50 million jobs, that would double our GNP, and that would allow us to pay off our national debt. And if we did that throughout the world, if a business for every man, woman, and child in the world, we have 6 billion people in the world. Everybody selling a product, making a product, working with a product. Some people are just like me, they just want to sell their own music, people write books and, do paintings and so forth. Some people want to get into computers and, and get into a new technology, into solar and wind energy and all this new technology. Some people around the world just want to farm it, raise cows, pigs, goats, sheep, birds, ducks, grow food, corn, wheat. People in Jamaica, they grow tomatoes and lettuce and greens and callaloo, apples and pears. Everybody really sold the product. As I've been telling you, my mother was able to save us from poverty in Jamaica because she was able to open a clothing store. So you have a lot of these women and men, they want to get into clothing and fashions, and that's a very big thing. Everybody needs to have clothing. So I believe if we can create a business for everyone in the world, 6 billion businesses deal, and we can end poverty. And that's what I think the World Bank and the IMF need to invest in. That's what I think our president has to do. I've written to Obama about it. We're having a new president, whether we're going to have Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. This is something that we really have to do. I just don't feel that spending all this money deporting 11 million people over the country is going to cost us billions. Some people say it may cost us billions or trillions of dollars to do that. If we invested in an idea like that, creating 40, 50 million businesses for every poor person in America, creating a business and a job for everybody around the world. That's how we should invest our money, rather than, as Trump says, he wants to spend money deporting 11 million people, which will cost us probably, who knows, billions, if not trillions of dollars to do that. So I rather think that we should invest in that. So we are at a crucial time here in America where we have to elect a new president there. And I don't want to tell you how to vote. I have been with both parties. I was registered with the Democrats. I was registered as a Republican. Now I'm an independent, and I don't really want to tell people how to vote because I'm a Christian. I believe in honesty. And since we have been doing radio and television, and we've gotten into the media, now we're on the internet and we're on YouTube and all that type of thing. I think I have a moral obligation to discuss the important issues that we are facing here. I don't want to tell anybody how to vote. I think every American has to sit down and make an honest evaluation and look at what each candidate is proposing. There, I like the idea there that health care, everybody needs health care. And I like the idea that Hillary Clinton is saying that she's going to try and keep Obamacare and health care. We all need health care, rich or poor, whatever our color, we need health. All of us have to go to the doctor at some point. So we get sick, whether we have colds or flus, or women have constantly health checkup, they're having babies and so forth. Women constantly have to go to the doctor. So we really have to have health care for everybody in America. And I do think that the Obamacare is a very good idea, there that all of the poor people can now get health care. They have actually said that it's over 129 million people who are now able to get health care from Obamacare. It's not just 20 million or 15 million or whatever. It's like 129 million people, because that's the amount of people who have pre-existing conditions, who really would not be able to get health care without the Obamacare. Because if you think of all the medical conditions, all of us wouldn't be able to get health care, because they would say we have pre-existing conditions. And over 129 or 30 million Americans have pre-existing conditions, and they would not be able to get health care without Obamacare. I do, however, believe that we definitely also have to try and reduce the cost where the premiums are going to. We try to keep because I do believe where Hillary Clinton is saying that we have to keep Obamacare and improve on it. Sanders is proposing this Medicare, having a Medicare plan also for everyone. Trump has taken the Republican position that they are going to just get rid of health care, and that's a very irrational. I think it's a bad idea. It's an irrational idea. A lot of people are going to die as a result here, and it's irrational. I mean, how can you get rid of a health plan before you create a program that can take care of the people who are going to be pushed out of that health plan? So it's a very irrational idea by the Republican. I think it's sad that Trump has taken some of these Republican ideas. I don't dislike Donald Trump. I mean, as Jesus, as a Christian, we have to love everybody. You might not agree with him, but we have to love everyone. I don't dislike Donald Trump. I've never disliked Donald Trump there. But if you sit down really and take a honest evaluation of the ideas that are coming out of the candidates and coming out of Donald Trump, there's some very bad ideas, and also where he was saying that he wouldn't mind some of these countries, more countries getting nuclear weapons. That's a very bad idea. You would be undoing the non-proliferation treaty right there, where you have nearly 200 countries or 180 or 90 countries or so that have decided that they don't want to have nuclear weapons. And if you, as the president, is trying now to say, oh, well, I don't mind if Japan gets nuclear weapons or Saudi Arabia, you are going to be actually saying to all these nearly 200 countries, hey, you guys can go to get nuclear weapons. We can't do that. That's a very bad idea. And Trump, they really didn't have to take these bad ideas. He was definitely going to win the Republican nomination. He didn't have to take all these terrible ideas. Where again, I like Democratic position on the environment. We have to clean up the environment. It's like cleaning up your home, or cleaning up your room, or cleaning up your front yard, or cleaning up your backyard. We have to clean up the environment. And President Obama has made a lot of progress in getting these countries to clean up the environment so that we reduce global warming, where now you can see that the ice caps are melting and the sea levels are rising. And if you turn on the news every morning, even this morning, you see the people in Texas, they are flooded out. One of the reasons for that is that we have those rising sea levels and rising water levels, and a lot of it is due also from the pollution. So I think the Democratic position that we have to clean up the environment is a great idea. And now that we have agreements around all the countries of the world clean up the environment, we have to keep doing that. Trump wants to completely do away with these agreements that will clean up the environment and so forth. He wants to unleash coal and all these industries that pollute the air. We have to have the coal industry have cleaner technology, but he does not believe in global warming, that we have to do anything about that. And that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that I think Trump has really made, to really take a stand against cleaning up the environment and supporting the agreements there to prevent global warming and climate change. So he has just taken all his bad and position which he didn't have to take, and he has forced a lot of people who won't be able to vote for him. We really have to do something about environment, and this is an idea that I think we really have to do. You have oil companies, and the oil companies have made billions and trillions of dollars drilling for oil on land and out in the ocean. And I've been saying this over and over again. Governments around the world give the oil companies leases a lot of times to drill out in the ocean there. What we now have to do is to say to all these oil companies, okay, you want to drill out in the ocean to get oil. We're going to give you a lease so you can drill out in the ocean to get oil. But also, you are going to have to purify some of the seawater from the rising sea levels, and you can sell that water to countries facing drought. We have California. California, they have a drought problem. They have fires, California, Arizona. I live in both California and Arizona, and we just have the constant drought and fires. Countries around the world facing drought. People are dying in Africa, India, Pakistan, in the Caribbean because they don't have clean water. And this is something that the oil companies could easily do. But it's going to take government leadership. This is something that we have to get the oil companies to do. We allow you to drill out in the ocean. We allow you to drill near rivers for oil. But if you're going to do that, you have to purify some of that water, help in areas where there are floods, like you have in Texas, where they have all these floods. Look at the amount of oil companies that we have in Texas. Texas probably has the most oil companies, but it's going to take government leadership to say to the oil companies, okay, we're giving you a lease to drill in Texas, or we're giving you a lease to drill out in Alaska, drill out there in the North Sea, or in Europe, or in the Caribbean, there, or drill in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, we'll give you a lease to do that, but you're going to have to purify some of the water, help in these flooded areas, and you can sell that water to all these places that need a clean water. And so this is something that I've been trying to tell, and over and over. You got the countries in Europe where ocean levels are rising. They have all these oil companies drilling in the North Sea. They have all these oil companies out there drilling. So this is something we have to do. Get the oil companies to purify the sea levels and river levels and in the flooded areas. Look at the amount of oil companies we have in Texas. Let them provide systems to prevent these floods. Look at Texas. People have been flooded out. People are dying. Soldiers dying from these floods. Look at the amount of oil companies that we have in Texas. This is something that we have to do. Oil companies, water companies, in fact, they would probably make more profit from purifying water and selling it than probably from oil. I think it's probably cheaper to purify water than to drill for oil. And the oil companies have the resources to do it. And this is something I've been saying all along. This is something what we have to do to reduce the ocean levels and to provide cleaner energy there. So that's something that I think all the governments of the world have to do. You can do that by creating a purification system that you can test the water that these companies will purify so that they don't contaminate the water supply. You need an accurate testing system. But this is something that we have to do around the world. We do it in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica. And there are times in Jamaica, we lived in a small town named Friendship, and we had a river that ran behind our house. And anytime we had a high rainfall, the river would rise up and flood the entire Friendship. Our houses in Friendship had to be built up on posts. They couldn't build the house on a flat foundation because the river rises up and floods the entire town. So if you pass through places in Jamaica, you see the houses being built up on high posts. Right, these posts are like 3, 4 feet high, or on blocks. They put the blocks up high because the river would flood the area. You have tidal waves, and this happened to me. So I have experienced this flooding. So this is something that we have to do there. This is what's happening in Texas, there in Kansas, in Alaska, in all around the world, Pakistan, India, Africa. People are being flooded. Something that we need. So we really need to save and protect the environment. So I find Trump's position, I can't accept this position. A lot of things that there are, he wants to torture people, he wants to kill families of terrorists there. So I can't agree with some of his ideas. I don't dislike it, but the ideas there are sort of very dangerous there. And on top of that, what really gets to me is that he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Can you imagine in a modern time, in a modern country like America, where the richest and most powerful country, you want to do away with education? If you go to any country in the world, they will tell you, no, you can't do away with the Department of Education that the government has. You can't do that. So I think it's very unfortunate that Trump has taken these very bad positions. I do agree with what Bernie Sanders is saying, that he wants to create a certain amount of free college. Hillary Clinton is saying that she wants to reduce the college debt, because I'm still paying off my school loans and college loans. And I was at Baruch. I was lucky to get into Harvard University. I'm still paying off my school and college loans there. And I know if you can reduce that also, and we definitely have to end poverty in America and raise the minimum wage there. Hillary Clinton says she wants to raise it to $12 an hour. Bernie Sanders wants to raise it to $15 an hour. We definitely have to raise the minimum wage. I live out in California sometimes, and the rent there is so expensive. The rent is only probably maybe $2,000 a month. People would have to work 1 and 2, 3 jobs to afford it, and that's why you have so much homeless people across the country. I worked as a social worker for many years, and our job was really to go out into the city there and help the homeless there in New York. And it's very sad to see the homeless. I've been homeless many times. I think everybody has been homeless at some point, whether you're rich or poor, and you travel to a different country, travel to a different state where you don't have a house, you're homeless. So we all face homelessness. So something here has to be done to end housing discrimination. I think there is a discrimination in housing that people don't want to provide housing for poor and for black and West Indians like me. I'm Jamaican American. There, I was in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. I do work in Las Vegas. I've lived in Vegas also for some time. And some of the places that I used to live when I was in Vegas, I went back there and they had completely destroyed all that housing, like 2-3 blocks of they just basically shut down all this poor housing, like thousands of apartments and rooms that could have been rented out to poor people. And that's what has happened across America. The gentrification, they have destroyed all the poor housing for the low-income people. And it's a tragedy. Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, all these major cities, they're going and they completely destroy all of the poor housing. And I think it's really discrimination. They don't want blacks or Jamaicans or West Indians to have housing. So this is something that I think the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders have to tackle. Or if Donald Trump becomes president, you have to really provide more low-income housing for the people there. So it's going to be a very tough election. It's going to be a very bitter election because Trump, of course, is very combative. there, and you see all the demonstrations that are taking place, the violent demonstrations that are taking place there. And I was trying to say, I mean, he should be trying to calm the people down, but of course he is, not taking that position to try and calm the people down. There he is very aggressive there. So as I said, we have to pray to God that we can get the right president, that the American people will make the right choice. I really could not support Donald Trump, and I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him. I've never disliked him there at all. I've never disliked him, but I, as a poor Jamaican American or African American, I mean, and you see, my hair is in dreadlocks. This is my natural hair. I never really. People look at my hair and say, "My God, how did you get your hair with all these long dreadlocks?" They would think that I deliberately did this, but I didn't do this. I never really planned my hair to be like this. I never probably even imagined that my hair would come like this in dreadlocks. But the thing is that I never believed in cutting off my hair. And I for years now, I stopped cutting my hair. But I believe that the brain is so important. I'm a patented inventor, so we have to, keep doing inventive and creative things. And I believe in protecting the brain. And that's why I never cut my hair. I just let it grow natural. I would wash it and shampoo it, and oil it. But I never really, this is a natural hair. I mean, I never rolled up my hair like this. Is how God has put my hair. As Jesus said, your hairs are numbered. And I see that God has a plan. It's a plan of God, because in Jamaica, this type of hairstyle is very popular, But I never did this. This is my natural hair. And I really couldn't go to a Trump rally. I mean, I couldn't go walk into a Trump rally. Here's this black guy walking into a Trump rally with all his dreadlocks. I mean, it would be crazy. They would probably throw me out. They would probably beat me up, throw me out. I would nearly be killed going to a Trump rally. As you said, a lot of blacks can't go to Trump rally. And that is why I think it's very sad how the Trump campaign has gone. And of course, you have a lot of the white supremacist groups that are supporting Trump. So I really could not vote for Donald Trump. I have to vote with the Democrats. I'm independent. I'm registered as an independent. I am going to have to vote for the Democrats there. I just could not support Trump because I would be scared. I couldn't support a president that I would be afraid for my life to go to a meeting or a rally. I'd be scared going into a Trump rally. So I'm in a position where I just can't support Trump. I have written to President Obama about a lot of my ideas. I'm a patented inventor. I've had US patents, and I've designed a lot of different. The patent office knows all the stuff that we have designed, and try to get patents and copyrights on and so forth. And I've written to him a lot of these ideas that I'm telling you about. I've written to Obama about. I've got about 3 letters from the Obama White House. And if I was invited to the White House, I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be afraid to go to the White House, But I would be scared to go to a Trump rally. There's a black guy with all his dreadlocks. I mean, it'd be crazy. People say, "You're crazy. You can't go to a Trump rally." They'll probably throw you out. They might even beat you. They might even kill you going into one of these rallies. So I couldn't vote for a president that I would be afraid of. I've also had invitations to Bernie Sanders. I wrote to Bernie Sanders. I wrote also to Hillary Clinton. And I've had invitation from Bernie Sanders' campaign that invited us to come to one of his meetings. And I wouldn't be afraid to go to Bernie Sanders' campaign either, but I would be scared walking in to a Trump rally. So I really can't vote. It's sad. I don't dislike Donald Trump, but I just could not vote for Trump. I think the Democrats are a better choice. You can't blame Hillary Clinton for what happened in the Middle East. If you want to blame anybody, the blame goes right back to the Republican Bush administration, the mistakes they made by going into Iraq and the 9/11. All that happened in the Republican administration. So if you want to put blame, you can't blame Obama and Hillary for what's happening in the Middle East. What happened there goes all the way back to the Republican and the Bush administration deal. I think the email thing is a very petty thing. You got to realize that the Secretary of State is our first line of defense. They can only protect us by having information. So you can't penalize the Secretary of State for getting information and processing information, getting emails. Everybody knows. I get emails. I get probably a couple hundred emails a week or so myself. And it's not against the law to have your own private email. When Hillary Clinton was secretary, this technology was just coming in, so they didn't have a clear policy. I agree now that the government has a set policy on email, but when she was secretary, there was no clear policy on it. And of course, people can have their own private servers, but you can't penalize whether it's the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense or the President or Vice President for getting information. They can only protect us from nuclear war, from 9/11, from terrorism, from chemical, biological warfare. All our adversaries there, we got the Russians and the Chinese, all our enemies out there trying to destroy us. The State Department system must have 1 billion times. They need to have information. If Hillary Clinton wants to protect us from the Benghazi, she could only do it if she had information. So you can't penalize them from getting and processing information. They have to try now that you have a clear policy to go with the government system and so forth. But when she went in, there was no clear policy. The email technology was just coming in. A lot of the Secretary of States never used email. So I think the email thing is a very petty, microscopic, very petty thing. And it's been blown out of proportion by the Republicans. They can only protect us by having information. The Secretary of State is responsible to protect the people in America and all the Americans abroad. You have nearly 200 countries and 200 embassies and ambassadors that are out there to protect us. The Secretary of State is our first line of defense. Before you send out the army, you send out the Secretary of State through diplomatic process to protect us and to negotiate with all these countries. To do that is a very difficult job, and they need to get all the information on a 24/7 basis constantly. So you can't penalize them for trying to get and process information. It's it would be very wrong if you start penalizing the Secretary of State and the government for trying to get and process information and emails and so forth. You are going to prevent them from being able to protect us, and that's why we will get hit with 9/11 and have Benghazi and have all these terrorist attacks, because they can only protect us by having 24/7 information. I do agree now that they have a clear policy on it, that the government also has a clear policy on the email that they have to follow the government system here. But you can't really penalize them for getting information, emails. They need to get that information. Their Secretary of State will get millions of emails per year. As you can see, the system is, the government system was hacked 1 billion times by terrorists or by all our enemies, the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, 1 billion times. It is very sad, though, that I find that the people are more interested in penalizing the Secretary of State rather than the billions of terrorists who were hacking the system that really forced Hillary Clinton to deciding that she was going to have her own system. It's very sad that these people are putting their lives on the line to protect us, and the people out there want to penalize them and are not concerned about the billions of terrorists and people hacking into the system trying to destroy us. So I think the email thing is a very petty thing, it's very minor, and you really can't penalize the Secretary of State for trying to get emails. Trump, he has his problems with his university and all this stuff that they're hitting in on fraud and so forth and so forth. But we all have problems. We're not perfect human beings, and all of us have problems there. But I really think we have to stick to the issues and see who really have the better ideas. Put away the mudslinging and all this negative campaigning. Let us focus on the real issues and trying to get a president that will prevent us from having nuclear weapons destruction. I want to tell you a bit about this system that we invented. I'm going to briefly touch on it here. Now, years ago, we had designed this system. I don't want to get this rundown of it. I'll give you a brief touch on it here. Years ago, we applied for a patent on this expanding missile system. It expands. It's an expanding system that expands. So it expands. And it absorbs nuclear missiles and also is able to receive nuclear missiles and disarm them, and also can boomerang them. I'm going to tell you a bit more about it. Here. Okay, so it expands, and you can actually, it expands so it can receive nuclear missiles, has airbags in it that can cushion the effect of the incoming nuclear missiles, has saws that cut off the warhead and allows you to be able to disarm a nuclear missile. If you have a system, a saw that can cut nuclear missiles in half, you might be able to disarm them. And if you have just half the missile left, you can take that half of the missile and send it back to wherever it came from. If you can disarm it, then you're going to have to send it back. We have to really make peace with the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans. But now that they are threatening to use nuclear weapons, we have to have a system that can protect us against nuclear weapons. This is a very system that we could call it an anti-nuclear missile drone. Everybody is building drones. So this is something that we could easily build. It's not impossible. So this system expands. It's a drone type system that expands. It has a high powered source. It expands. It absorbs the incoming nuclear missiles. Has airbags and water bags. You can very good that you can use it in the ocean, because a lot of the nuclear missiles now are being put in the oceans and submarines and ships. So here you have a nuclear missile. It expands, picks up the nuclear missiles. You have what I call high powered laser swords that cut off the nuclear missiles, cuts it in half. So you probably disarmed it by cutting it in half, because if you cut off the engines and the boosters, all the power is probably gone, and you might be able to disarm it. There's no guarantee that you're going to prevent it from exploding, but if you can't disarm it, you are going to have to send it back wherever it came from. And as I said, we have entered the nuclear missile boomerang age, where, as you see now, companies and people now are able to send rockets in both directions. They can send rockets this way, or they can send them the other way. They can send rockets to the north, they can send them south, they can send them east, they can send them west. So if you can send back these rockets, you are going to be able to boomerang these nuclear missiles, and that means that no country is going to want to launch a nuclear missile, because they're going to feel, hey, if we launch these nuclear missiles, they're going to come back at us. So this is going to help to lead us towards nuclear disarmament and reducing the amount of nuclear weapons in the world. So this is why it's very important that our next president moves towards getting this 24/7 system. This is a 24/7 system that I've been talking about, is a 24/7 monitoring and inspection by the International Atomic Agency of all the nuclear weapons in the world on a 24/7 basis to ensure that no country launches a nuclear attack either by mistake, terrorism, malfunction, anger, stress. We would need to have that 24/7 inspection of all the nuclear missiles, whether they're on submarines and ships, on planes, on bombers, on land, underground, or up in space, wherever they are. So that is something we really need to have, this 24/7 treaty. And as I say, you don't have to be fearful of this treaty, because America is not going to give up control of its nuclear weapons. Russia is not giving up control of China, or India, Pakistan, or Britain, or France giving up control of their nuclear weapons. They're just allowing the International Atomic Agency to monitor and inspect this nuclear on a 24/7 system to make sure that no country launches a nuclear attack. The great thing about this system is that you would allow each country to design and build its own inspection monitoring system as how that country wants its nuclear missiles to be monitored. America would be allowed to build its own inspection and monitoring system. Russia will build its own inspection and monitoring system. China builds its own inspection and monitoring system. India, Pakistan build its own inspection and monitoring system. Britain and France build its own inspection and monitoring system. Israel build its own inspection and monitoring system. And North Korea build its own inspection and monitoring system. Then the International Atomic Agency and the United Nations and all the experts can get together and evaluate these inspection and monitoring systems to make sure that these systems are fair and honest systems, that they're really systems that really are going to monitor the nuclear weapon. So it is not as difficult as a lot of people would feel. Some people are going to feel, well, they're going to give up control of weapons, or they're going to come in and take control of all nuclear weapons. It's not that. Each country is going to be allowed to design and develop its own inspection system so they can protect their classified information, or their top secrets, or their strategic. They can decide, well, this is the type of inspection monitoring system that we want to have because they want to protect their strategic interests. Each country will be allowed to design its own inspection monitoring system. It's not as difficult and impossible as we see. So that's a system that I wrote to President Obama about having it. I wrote to the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, and also the Atomic Agency head, Mr. Amina Kokour, about trying to build this type of system so that you can prevent countries from having accidental nuclear war by mistake, by anger, stress, by terrorism, malfunction, by mistake, and so forth. We also need to have a treaty that deals with, to prevent airspace violations, where you see all these planes and ships now, nearly American ships and Russian planes being nearly getting too close to one, and Chinese planes getting too close to American submarines and ships and so forth. So we really need a treaty also that prevents those airspace violations. Well, this is a very good system, and that's why I've been repeating it over and over, because this system can actually be like a suitcase type drone. This could be a drone that you could probably pack in a suitcase. You don't have to carry it on a ship or a submarine. Like most of the missile systems that we have to be put on bombers, they have to put on ships and submarines. They have to transport them there, because those are missile systems that shoot down nuclear weapons. But those systems are good, but with this system, which is a drone that you could probably carry in a suitcase, it could be a suitcase type, a drone, a laser power, so that you could pack thousands of them in a suitcase, and you could probably launch them, and they could cut off nuclear weapons They could chop up nuclear weapons. They could chop up thousands of nuclear weapons. They could chop up enemy bombers. They could chop up enemy ships, enemy submarines. Here, um, could chop up enemy tanks. Chop up enemy tanks, chop up enemy artillery, chop up enemy guns. So it's a very good idea, and I think we could use the laser, because the problem with laser is that laser can shoot down nuclear weapons, but it is very, very expensive. So this could be a system that we could probably could also make use of laser power there to cut up nuclear missiles. You could take one son, probably cut up the entire military of a country, of an enemy country, cut up the entire, cut up all thousands of nuclear weapons, cut up hundreds of bombers, cut up hundreds of ships and submarines, enemy ships and submarines. So this is something why I've sort of tried to emphasize it, because this is something that you can transport very easily. Most of the other systems, like they have all these interceptors and these all these different missile systems. They have to transport them in ships, in submarines, in bombers. But this could be something that you could actually carry around. Like, you see, everybody have drones now. They carry them around with them in a suitcase, in a small box. It's something that this is why I sort of emphasize. So God has given us a lot of technology that we can actually get rid of nuclear weapons. And so I'm going to be talking more about that. We really need to have, as I said, a 24 system of monitoring by the International Atomic Agency. We're also, I want to talk about robotics. I've written to President Obama about that. We really need to build a robotic military. Robotics can save lives. We have so many of our servicemen have been killed. When you go to Arlington Cemetery and you see all the graves out there, the cemeteries, and you see all the people who have lost their husbands and their wives, lost their sons, and every day you hear of veterans being killed out there. So we really have to build a robotic military. Robotics is not as difficult as it may seem. Robotics is really just like building a smaller vessel. It's like building a tank. You have all these big tanks. If you build tanks on a smaller basis that you could control by remote control, or if you build all these big artillery systems, big artillery, it's just a matter of building things smaller that you can control them by remote control. So we have to invest in building a robotic military so we reduce the casualty. Too much of our children are being slain abroad in all these terrorist crazy wars. We have Vietnam, we have Korea, now we're in Iraq, we're in Afghanistan, we're in Syria. I mean, we definitely just can't continue to let our children, our grandchildren being slaughtered in all these wars. So we definitely have to invest in robotics. Robotics can do a lot of this fighting for us there. Anytime the terrorists and our adversaries realize, hey, the Americans are not going to send their children out here to fight us anymore. They're going to send robots out here. They're going to send drones out here. Then they're not going to want to make war with us. So that's the mentality that we have to take. Now they want to put women on the front line. So I wrote to President Obama. I said, what? You have to start building a U.S. military with 1 million robots. And that is something that we can easily do by investing some more money into using robotics. It's not all that impossible. We can use robots to do a lot of the frontline stuff. We have these terrorists out there. They have roadside bombs. They have poison gas. They have booby traps. And that's why we have to go into robotics. So much people have come. I mean, it hurts me that when I see people, the artificial, they lost a foot, they lost their legs. I seen a picture with girls, about half a dozen women lost feet, lost hands, some people blinded, some people burnt out. And that's why I say we have to invest in building a robotic military. Whoever becomes our next president, Donald Trump, or Hillary Clinton, or Bernie Sanders, we have to put more investment in building smarter technology and having a robotic military where we can save the lives of our veterans. I mean, we have lost probably who knows millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people in war around the world. You have a billion people killed in wars, and of course God, he doesn't want us to have these wars. So Jesus said, "They will come and he will raise everybody up out of the out of the graves," as he said there in John. And if you read the Revelation and you read Ezekiel, where God said to Ezekiel in the grave, Ezekiel, can these bones come back? And he raised up all people. But we have to do more to prevent all these veterans or the children from going to war in these foreign countries by using robotics and drones. I think what we really need to invest in is to build an accurate targeting system. Any day that we build an accurate targeting system that can target only people with weapons, that will not target or people who are unarmed or will not kill civilians, then we can have a robotic military where a lot of this fighting is going to be done robotically. And then a lot of these terrorism adversaries they're not going to want to fight us. As God said in the Bible, they will beat their shields into plowshares and their spirits are human hooks. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. And I remember again to look for my book, the 24/7 Safety Inspection to Save the World from Nuclear War and Global Warming, the Nuclear Missile Boomerang, by me, Peter Hessing, and also to my music CD is coming out, the Miss America Hearts, President of Reggae Rap, Hip Hop. I wanted to just read you a few passages from the Bible. As a pastor, I have to. I like reading these passages from the Bible. Here, we have a God that loves us. It's a loving God, and here, and I just want to read you here. And we have to bring Christian, Muslims, and Jews together. Christian, Muslims, and Jews regard Abraham as the father of their religion and of their family. Abraham is regarded as a father for the Jews, father for the Christians, and father for the Muslims. And God had a great love for Abraham there. And I just want to read you a few chapters about Abraham here. And this is from Genesis 15 there. And after these things, the word of Jehovah came to Abraham in a vision, saying, "Do not fear, Abraham. I am a shield for you. Your reward will be very great." At this Abraham said, "Sovereign Lord Jehovah, what will you give me, seeing that I am going childless, and the one who will possess my house is a man of Damascus, Eleazar?" And Abraham added, "Look, you have given me no seed, and look, a son of my household is succeeding me as a heir." So Abraham is asking God to give him a son, because he has no son, and someone else is going to come and take his possessions, is going to succeed him, and he doesn't have any children. But look, the word of Jehovah to Abraham was in these words: "This man will not succeed you as a heir, but one who will come unto your own inward parts will succeed you as a heir." He now brought him outside and said, "Look up, please, to the heavens and count the stars, if you are possibly able to count them." And he went on to say to him, "So your seed will become." And he put faith in Jehovah, and he proceeded to count it to him as righteousness. So here, God promises Abraham that he will multiply, and he will be, he will multiply as the stars. And all Christians and Muslims and Jews regard Abraham as their father. So we have to bring Christians and Muslims and Jews together and make peace there. I also want to read you what Jesus said also there, there in St. John, where Jesus says that we should love one another, and if someone gives their life there, that is what love is all about there. That's the greatest love for that. Where Jesus says in St. John 15:11, "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and your joy may be made full. This is my commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. No one has love greater than this, that someone surrender his life on behalf of his friends. You are my friends if you do what I have commanded you." So here, Jesus tells us to love. We have to bring Christians, Muslims, and Jews together and love one another. And as John goes on to say that God is love. So thank you. Join me again. This is your Pastor Peter Christian. Give your hearts and life to Jesus. Peace and love. And I pray to God that we can elect the right president. Let us have end poverty, have nuclear disarmament, clean up the environment, their healthcare, education, and jobs and businesses for everyone in the world. Thank you. Peace and love. Give your hearts and lives to God and Jesus.